Share Shootout brought to you by Lion of Africa Insurance, insuring South Africa's future.
This is the most vicious stock-picking show on television, your Tuesday night battleground. You're watching CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. I'm Bruce Whitfield, judge, jury and executioner. I also occasionally will set people on fire. Now, is Growthpoint's purchase of Tiber Group of portfolio of properties an attempt to colonize Santa? Is the e-toll start date of December the 3rd a coincidence or impeccable timing to raise the kitty for government bonuses at this time of year? Is the only way to see the Nkandla report to go and actually see Nkandla for yourself? We don't have the answers to any of these puzzling questions. What we do know is we've got an ex-KGB agent, not really, and a qualified advocate introducing the challenger with only one appearance, which he lost. Lavan, I could also write the Nkandla report because I'm an advocate, Gopaul. Plus, he takes on the champion with 10 appearances, 7 wins and 3 bruising losses. Sasha, I take a week to pick my stocks. Naryskhine, the house rules. You know the house rules already. Let's go through those house rules because what they've done is they've each picked 3 shares. Neither knows what the other holds, but each must accept at least one of their competitors' stocks. The longer they leave it, the more likely they are to have to accept something they really don't like. Each has got 30 seconds to argue their stock pick. Now that you know the house rules, let's get the game underway because we need to do that. Lavan, would you like to go first or should we make Sasha go first? You being...
I don't mind going first.
You don't mind going first? Oh, you're brave. Okay, let's go there. Lavan Gopaul from Trademar Futures. Interesting first pick, the 187.6 billion rand market cap banking group. You're wearing the tie this evening. Mm-hmm. You're showing that you are you're showing that you are partisan, of course, to the FirstRand group. 30 seconds. Tell me why.
FirstRand, a very impressive group. They've recently done an acquisition for a stockbroking firm, BJM. They're making inroads into Nigeria with a new acquisition that should be bedded down soon. One of the interesting aspects is they have a fair amount of room to enter into African countries. They've concentrated on South Africa, whilst other groups have explored the rest of the continent. They're now in a strong, buoyant position to do that.
Wow. 30 seconds are up. We're brutal on this program. Sasha Naryskhine, do you buy FirstRand?
Yes, I'm going to agree with this one.
You are?
Yeah, I don't know the other two.
I haven't even shown you the other two.
Well, I know that. Those are the rules of the game. But, you know, at a starting point for quality, I think you know, you're probably at the top of the pile. From probably a company that was near the bottom of the pile not so long ago. Yeah, not so long ago. So, and a big technological push. So to put that into perspective, weren't they voted the most innovative bank in the world?
That was 2012. They went off to the United States. Some organization made them the most innovative bank in the world, and they've been fairly innovative. They sell more of these devices than Incredible Connection does, and they make a profit out of that. They get their customers to use these devices, so it lowers the cost to the bank to service their customers.
100%.
It's been an ingenious business model. Has it not reached a peak, though, Lavan?
I don't think it's reached a peak. What I was going to say earlier on is banking in South Africa has certain cracks in it, but this isn't mainstream or what we'd call high street banking from a UK point of view. South Africa, you find the lower end of the consumer market struggling, and so the likes of African Bank under threat, whilst diversified groups like FirstRand, with their technological advancements and varied income stream, are able to maybe keep themselves buoyant through almost any economic change. I don't think it's at the top of its game. If anything, I believe that they're only starting to initiate new activities that will bear fruit in time.
I can't wait to see what those new activities are, because they have shaken up the banking sector. They've cut the cost of banking. They've made it more affordable. They've forced their competitors to cut costs, which has put their returns on equity under a lot of pressure. They've led this particular game, and long may it last.
If I can just add, some of those activities I'm referring to is a rollout plan for acquisitions through Africa.
But I'm sorry, I've heard this boring story so often. They went into Zambia, they got kicked in the pants in Zambia and told, we know you fixed the bank that was broken, thank you so much for doing it. Now, buzz off. Companies are going into Nigeria. They're learning the hard way. We've seen Woolies pull out of Nigeria, Nando's pull out of Nigeria.
Not all of them are 419 scams. So I think there may be an opportunity for them to buy a good Nigerian bank on the cheap.
But we've seen what happened to Tiger Brands, and Aliko Dangote got one over Peter Matlari in this one, didn't he? Sasha Naryskhine. 400 million rand loss for Tiger Brands, courtesy of Dangote Flour Mills. Peter Matlari, of course, tells us it's the best deal he's done, and time will tell whether it is. But the point is, if you're going to buy these assets in a place like Nigeria, you're going to have to pay a lot of money.
And you'd be naive to think that the seller isn't getting a good deal, like you said. But it'll take time. So
the point is, you're accepting FirstRand.
I've been a junior Bob T, student Bob, all the way through to my check account. So since I was very little, so I'll accept this one.
But you'll accept that one, just in case they close your accounts and actually call in all of the loans.
Yes.
All right. So you're accepted on that one. He's got 2 more stocks to go. Your first pick this evening is one which has flabbergasted me, because this used to be a really big company, and then they cut off the exciting bits and turned them into a very successful local gold producer. Sibanye Gold has been fantastic. And then I look at Goldfields as a pick, and I think Naryskhine has lost his marbles, but then I see Lavan's excited because he thinks he's going long Goldfields. What an idiot. But you're going short Goldfields in 30 seconds. Tell me why.
Yeah, I think, production are not going to meet their targets. I think the big key thing here in the very short to medium term is there's an SEC cloud hanging over them, and let's make no bones about it. The SEC have been pretty brutal after having been complete losers before the financial crisis. So, and I think there's pressure on Nick Holland too. So there's just too much pressure from too many angles. Plus also with the threat of taper, the gold price is heading down. So yeah, too many things moving in the wrong direction. 30
seconds are up. Lavan, do you like a short on Goldfields? Can it fall any further than it has?
I don't like a short on Goldfields. In fact, I'm quite bullish on Goldfields. I think it's a diversified gold operator, and if you've got to choose,
how? It's got a hole near Klerksdorp, which is going to be a bottomless pit for more cash over the next 10 years, and it's got some mines elsewhere in the world.
And that's 2/3 of their assets.
South Deep is an operation that a number of people have struggled with locally, but they've got exposure to the Philippines, they have exposure to Australasia and in other parts of Africa.
Wasn't there a breeze through the Philippines the other day which makes operating quite awkward?
Yeah, certainly there's going to be geographical challenges, but why I like it is if you have to choose a gold operator, I believe that they're sufficiently well diversified just from a geography point of view. They also have a variety of stage of production, so they're able to eke out an income. And remember, just the other day, they've thrown us something like 90 million rands in terms of a quarterly earnings increase. So I think that they're starting to turn the corner. Yes, there'll be challenges. South African operations will be challenged by Eskom. And the gold price, I think, may still have some legs to run up.
I want to just push this point with Sasha. It's called South Deep. And the reason it's called South Deep is because it's a bottomless pit.
Very deep.
And very deep. And I think it was David Shapiro who once said, if they go any deeper, they're going to become an Australian gold mining company.
I know,
because they'll stop mining on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Give me a sense, please, of just how big a liability South Deep could be.
Well, this was an attempt to de-South Africanize the company by pushing Sibanye. But in truth, South Deep are nearly 2/3 of all assets. So how have you de-South Africanized yourself there? I don't know, Bruce. It's just too many question marks at this time.
But the point is, Lavan, you would go long on Goldfields.
Correct.
You think the short is the wrong one. I wouldn't go long on Goldfields, but I happen to think, I don't know how much further it can fall. How much further can Goldfields go?
Well, have a look at operating costs and have a look at the direction that the gold price is heading. Bruce, there'll be your answer for you there.
No, that doesn't give me an answer at all. How much
It
further
does.
can it go?
The gap is closing and closing and
What's
closing.
What's
and then
Goldfields trading at? $45 or thereabouts?
No, even lower than that.
Okay.
Even lower than that. So, and what happens if they get whacked with a big fine? What's that going to do for sentiment?
Absolutely right. So you are shooting down the Goldfields short.
Correct.
Is shooting down your Goldfield short. He says you know nothing about gold mining.
I probably don't. No.
You don't, but that's okay. We're not going to hold that against you. Lavan Gopaul from Trademark Futures. I'm really interested in your second pick because you're not going huge on diversity this evening. You haven't got a dark blue tie, which I would have expected you'd whip one out because you got your FNB tie on this evening. I'm sure you've got a Standard Bank one in there somewhere as well because you're going for a second banking share.
Yes, I'm also long on Standard Bank. I think that they have recently restructured with 2 new CEOs. You've probably got very good, wise and experienced people at the helm of Standard Bank. They have recently restructured their deal with the Chinese organization, whilst China still owns a substantial chunk of the business. They've reported, as they must, on a quarterly basis, showing us a healthy improvement. Very good established African businesses, so that makes for strong, diverse, dollarized income.
There we go, strong, diverse, dollarized income. Why are you yawning?
Oh, this is boring.
Why is it boring?
Well, okay. Let me put global banking into context. If you add up all the fines that they've paid over time for underhanded behavior.
But wait. South African banks, come on, it's a different story.
Well, FirstRand remaining those oaks.
Those oaks?
From 7 Oaks.
The 7 Oaks from 7 Oaks.
Yeah,
yes.
7 Oaks. So, and also they've downsized.
But you like the
So
7
they've
Oaks from 7 Oaks. You like FirstRand. You've accepted FirstRand. You're putting
Yes,
FirstRand
but I'm saying remember.
on Standard Bank.
Remember.
Yes, remember.
Because
remember
there's lots
the 1st
of black
September.
box trading type activity happening in the background that you're not quite aware of. And just think of the cost-cutting exercises at Standard Bank, what sort of reduction in talent that's probably having. And also, I don't like the idea of 2 CEOs. I mean, really, pick one. And if the other guy doesn't like it, he can go and spend more time with his money.
Well, one of the 3 who was in line for the top job is done, and he's going to go spend some time with the Germans. Peter Wharton-Hood has gone off to Deutsche Bank. But you've got Ben Kruger, Sim Chabalala, 2 very nice blokes.
I think they're great.
2 very talented guys splitting a heavy workload that Jack and Marie seem to
No,
manage.
Jamie Dimon's got a heavy workload, and he's the chairman, so he seems to take that on just perfectly fine.
Okay, so you don't like Standard Bank very much.
No, I can't like Standard Bank very much for the purposes of this game.
But in the real world,
I think, Bruce, increased provisioning, and I think,
they're all doing that.
Exactly. So that's why I think the trading business, and let's not forget, everyone, the issue du jour stinking up the joint about unsecured lending, big part of their profits, small part of their book.
Fair enough, yeah.
And they've been writing that book off aggressively.
You talk too much. Okay. Lavan, you got 5 seconds to try and convince Mr. Alexander Naryskhine that this is a good idea, but I don't think he's going to buy it.
Standard Bank's already switched on through Africa. So as Africa growth happens, and that's something I'm very bullish about, you can see the rate of change in Nigeria, GDP plus 7-8%. And so the same is true for Zambia. Zimbabwe may be off a low base. So there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of dollar income with Standard Bank's entrenched brand and presence. I think they'll be in a position to already capture that profit.
You've chosen to pick 2 bank shares. If I was to say to you, Lavan, you're not allowed to have 2 bank shares. You have to choose either Standard Bank or FirstRand. Which one would you prefer? Because the one you like because it's established and got a brand on the continent. The other one you like because it doesn't have a brand on the continent that it could grow into the continent.
I choose FirstRand.
You would still choose
I
FirstRand.
think they could
you like
cherry pick. I like them both.
Okay.
I think FirstRand's in a position to cherry pick assets. They have the cash arsenal, and Nigeria is a good example. So of the 9 distressed banks, they're able to pick one good one immediately.
You're going to cut. We have to cut you there. You're shooting it down. You're not listening.
There's a Gunzi in the office blazing.
Gunzi in the office. Blazing.
You haven't watched the Wimpy ad?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
No, thank goodness for that. All right, Sasha Naryskhine from Vestact. I'm interested in your second pick because it is out of the FirstRand stable. It is one of the progeny of Laurie de Bernard, who saw this young man called Adrian Gore, who came into his office one day and said, you know what, you're a bright young guy. You might actually do something useful. And what he's done over the last 20 years is develop a 50 billion rand insurance business based on the health insurance sector, diversified into a bunch of other sectors as well, going increasingly global, but the market has lost some of the, well, maybe Discovery's lost some of its mojo. Well, maybe Discovery's lost its mojo.
No, I don't think
30 seconds, start now.
Okay, so the guy who runs it is also one of the biggest shareholders. Always important. He's got a lot of energy. Gee, that board is skinnier than all of us, so they're very healthy.
Altogether.
I think the white labeling of that Vitality Wellness program, that's going to be huge. And this was off a base of 0 20 years ago. So where the national providers of healthcare in their major, in their major geography isn't very good at doing what they're doing. So they're going to capture more and more people as they move through the LSM class.
Up Discovery, can you argue against it at all? Would you dare, Lavan?
I'm bullish on Discovery.
Yes.
I'm a buyer.
You're a buyer. I just look at Discovery and I look at the fact that I think, where did the share price peak? At about close to $100?
Yeah, it nearly got there.
It nearly got to $100. Then they came out with disappointing results. Adrian Gore
was out of the country.
Tried to explain his way through
I'd
those
like to
results.
defend that.
And the market didn't really get Adrian Gore's
I spoke to
point.
Adrian about it. I'd like to defend the point. Look, what he had is a very curious statement that he put out on Sense. A number of brokers saw lots of adjectives and it just blinded them and they just dumped the stock.
No, we don't speak actually. We don't.
So I think it was poorly worded. He tried to explain this at the recent results presentation. And then I spoke to him about it as well. I think he's very apologetic and he admits probably to errors
but let's assume that he set the record straight. Even though he set the record straight, the share price hasn't responded.
No, I think people are not sufficiently convinced. So he needs to be maybe more of a wordsmith about it. But why I do like Discovery is its exposure to Asia means that it will be able to tap into a market that is burgeoning and growing. They've got a tried and tested formula. They've already got inroads into the UK and the US. And as they spring an attack plan, as it were, into Asia, I think that's just going to up their numbers. The innovative products that they have, combining not only discounts at supermarkets, but health
We've seen
benefits.
Discovery get distracted before. When Destiny went pear-shaped in the United States, management got distracted in having to put out fires. To their credit, they wrote off R1 billion, they shut it down, they went on and they've moved on to other things.
So
they have a tendency, however, to bite off more than they can chew.
We must be mature to some of their misadventures being appropriated to the follies of 2008. Now,
don't come here with your tendencies.
Don't come here with your tendencies. I've got folly tendencies.
Yes.
You're accepting it.
I accept it.
You're accepting it. And I'd love to have more folly tendencies, but we have to move on. So, accepting Discovery. That's an interesting one. Sasha Naryskhine gets to survive to go into the next round. So what we've got from Lavan Gopaul from Trademark Futures is we got FirstRand and Standard Bank. He really prefers FirstRand, but couldn't think of another share, so he took Standard Bank, popped that into the mix as well. Sasha accepted FirstRand, shot down Standard Bank, doesn't like two chief executives. He doesn't mind them individually. I'm sure they're perfectly nice guys. But you don't like the fact that they have two of these people in charge, two parking bays, that they've got to swap every second day. Costs. I can't wait for the annual report to see if they've split Jacko's salary or they've each taken the same. Can't wait for that. Okay, moving on. Sasha Naryskhine from Vestact, short on Goldfields. Lavan Gopaul thinks Sasha is mad. He's a big fan of Goldfields, gold sector, and he thinks that there is lots of optionality within that particular space. But he does accept Sasha's Discovery pick. Two more picks to come after the break. Time for us to shoot off. More share shootout on the other side of this. This is Share Shootout right here on CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. Before the break, Lavan and Sasha each gave us their two stock picks. From Sasha, we got a short on Goldfields and a nice position on Discovery. Discovery accepted, Goldfields short shot down by Lavan, who's going big on banking. FirstRand and Standard Bank are both in his portfolio this evening. Sasha doesn't mind FirstRand. He doesn't like Standard Bank. Sasha, this round you go first. Yes. And into your final pick this evening. No need to be so excited because this is finally a share that has come alive after hibernating for probably 5 or 6 years. Tell me why in 30 seconds you like Steinhoff.
Look, I think on a European recovery plan, and in fact I put this stock to you a few months ago and was laughed down because there were no green shoots in Europe. Well, hello, they've arrived back. And it still trades on a multiple that's half of some of the other retailers around. So they're the second biggest furniture seller in the world, second to only IKEA. And they're starting to eat IKEA. And IKEA got some funny shareholder issues to resolve there. Over time. So I think they're going to make great progress and great geographies, and I think...
Stop.
No,
stop.
No.
Stop.
Okay.
Cut it. No more. Conforama, of course, is the business that they own in Europe, which is the big furniture retailer. Steinhoff, you got to like this one, Lavan. You like a bit of risk.
I'm forced to say no, only because I have to.
You don't have to. You can be magnanimous and you could.
I could like your one. You never know.
A part of me likes the business model that Steinhoff's in, and so I like their diversification and their worldwide reach. Where I'm concerned is the shape of the world consumer demand is such that furniture is not at the top of their list. Their South African exposure, let's unpack that. South Africa has proven to be a disastrous furniture sector.
How much of JD Group do they own now?
50.1.
50.1. So they do.
Yes.
They control JD Group.
Yeah.
And JD Group has hardly covered itself in glory, but then nor has Ellerine.
And Lewis and Ellerine. So you can go through the list of horrors.
But how big is South African exposure in the life of Steinhoff?
Whilst South African
40%,
exposure
40%, thank you.
is a portion of it, remember the rest of what they do is manufacturing. And the dream there is to be able to find retailers to buy your product in a world cycle that is very down. You only get white goods and furniture being sold in an uptick in an economy.
But are we not there? Are we not seeing it? Are we not feeling it? Sasha Noddy, his head's about to fall off his shoulders. Are we not seeing the early, I didn't buy it 4 months ago?
I'm not sufficiently convinced. I believe that
Okay.
Asian goods are price competitive, and so that's going to be a failure.
There is no Chinese maker in the world that can make a Goma Goma sofa. Whether they make Goma Goma or not anymore, they knew how to make a Plymouth sofa in those days, did Steinhoff.
Certainly some of their products good, but because the consumer demand is different these days, because of looming competition, I believe that this is not necessarily a stock that I want in a portfolio.
Last desperate, pathetic attempt at a defense of Steinhoff?
Who, me or him? I don't need to defend it. I think it's a quality business. There's nothing to
I like
defend.
the fact that it's cheap. It's perpetually cheap, but it's cheap.
Exactly.
And the share price has shown some life.
Correct. And I think that's in large part believers starting to come back. Believers, yeah.
But he's not a believer.
All I can say about that is I buy shares, not shares.
Good line.
That good line. Yeah,
But
we
he's shooting
should
you down.
rename this. Whose line is it anyway?
We should.
Yes.
And then you could lie on the floor and I could stand on your head. Okay.
Or other way
All
around.
right. Lavan Gopaul, you're shooting it down? Yeah. Shares,
Shooting
not
him
shares.
down.
I like it. Now, your final pick. You really are not particularly imaginative today, Lavan, because your third pick is a very considerable shareholder in your first pick.
Yeah.
And then it's got some other stuff.
I think
30 seconds on Remgro, please.
Remgro is a very well diversified group. By buying it, you're buying a unit trust almost of South Africa. Substantial exposure to financial services, Mediclinic, so you've got a lot of healthcare exposure, food exposure, and a list of assets that include almost every sector of the JSE. They have taken a slump in the last few trading days. A lot of it comes through from a cash flow change. They've had to throw a bunch of cash at Mediclinic for refinancing of a Swiss purchase. I like the business. There's embedded discount value.
Okay. Now, what is that discount? I'll give you time to say that. Because Remgro used to trade between 15 and 20% discount. It has closed quite a lot.
It's an 18. I just checked this morning. It's an 18% discount.
18, okay, which is fairly significant. However, if I was going to buy a unit trust on South Africa, I think I'd rather buy, I don't know.
Satrix.
Well, do Satrix maybe, but if you want to refine it even more, do the Coronation Top 20. If I was going to do that, I'm not sure that Remgro is that enticing.
There's some risk on with Remgro because you're buying into something like Mediclinic at the early stages of a bull run. So
then why not buy Mediclinic?
Yes.
Oh, you could, but then you have some of the added bonus. Remember
Why not buy Mediclinic and FirstRand? And what else do they have?
The thinking is
Petroleum.
this is an instant portfolio. By buying Remgro, you buy everything, and you buy some of these assets that are at a takeoff stage.
Sasha, blow it away.
Boring, Bruce.
Boring is fine.
Management fees.
Remgro has
Management
been a
fees.
spectacular staple for every
And
portfolio.
where do you think the Rupert magic is focused now? Do you think it's on Reinet or Remgro? Do you think it's on Richmond or Remgro? It's on Reinet and Richmond. That's where. So if you're buying the fact that the Ruperts are concentrating hard, I think this one's third at the bottom of the list.
Okay, but still, it's in their focus. And it is
I'm
very
pretty
substantial.
sure.
It's a very substantial part of the Rupert wealth, Rupert asset base.
Yeah, but look at what they did with their bat stake here. They could have left it here, but what did they do? They stuck it into Reinet in Luxembourg.
You don't like them, do you?
Who?
The Ruperts.
I love them. We've been long holders of Richmond. Very happy.
Okay, but you prefer Richmond, you prefer Reinet, and you would put Remgro third on the list, and you would also shoot it down.
I'm just saying, where do you think the Rupert magic, where do you think he's focusing next?
On holiday still, as far as I know. Has he come back to work yet?
We stopped smoking, for one, so I expect him to sell his BATS shares and so
He's a terrible poster boy for his own business.
Yes. Well, not anymore, of course, remember. And then maybe he's down to a single handicap as we speak. So
Quite possibly, but we digress. I think he's shooting you down on that one.
Oh, look, I'm sure he is. I maintain it's well-diversified group. So you've got a bit of poultry and food. You've got the Mediclinic and healthcare aspect. You've got the financial services. And the notion that the big shareholders have their focus elsewhere is a good comment, but there are professionals that are running the business. So
take a big management fee.
You're not forced to watch the till at every second.
There we go. So I've got to make a decision. Producers, I'm interested in your view this evening, which I usually ignore, by the way. So producers, do you dare make any contribution this evening? Do you dare? Do you dare? They don't dare. They don't dare. So they leave it up to me. Thanks for that, guys. Okay, so what we got from Lavan Gopaul from Trademark Futures this evening is can I be unkind? An uninteresting portfolio.
Be careful what you say, but okay.
An uninteresting portfolio. Well, not particularly diversified, not kind of wild and woolly, not on the cutting edge and the boxing edge, on the fighting edge. We like FirstRand. It's a nice business. Standard Bank, we like Standard Bank. It's a nice business. It was shot down, though, and certainly Remgro was shot down. He says it's boring. I think it should be the basis of every single South African portfolio for the reasons that you state. But I'm just a little bit concerned about this portfolio in that it's very financial services focused. I think we could have been a bit more creative. Sasha's Goldfields short. I don't agree with your Goldfields short. I don't see how it could possibly fall any further.
Thanks, Chris.
And I've got that wrong before too.
Yes.
And then Discovery. We like Discovery. I think we're absolutely right. We've got to say that, otherwise they might not pay the bills.
Yes.
And then Steinhoff. I think you may have a point on Steinhoff. And I like the fact that it's trading. I hadn't looked the multiple down for a while. A multiple of under 11 times. So my decision is actually fairly easy. Lavan Gopaul, I'm afraid, next time, some diversity, which means, unfortunately, I have to see your face again next week. I can't believe it.
You're bad.
It'll be his 11th appearance on the show, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting bored. Hopefully we can find a feisty opponent to stomp on his head and step on his spleen next week. We'll be hosting another battle of wits in the most vicious, brutal, uncompromising stock-picking show in the world. Well, we say so anyway. Right here on CNBC Africa. Remember, send me your tweets at Bruce Business. And yes, we know that we're way cooler, more engaging in the hot stocks. Please keep telling at Paul Vestact. He's a loser. Can you do that?
The guy I've known for 15 years, you're calling him a loser. Come on.
Chicken.
He's a winner.
Okay, well, why don't we bring him here and then the two of you?
He's got more important things. And we're on the same page, Bruce. Come on.
Yeah, of course you are. Join us again next week as we continue to pick out a winner and shoot out the rest. I think we should get Paul Theron on. If you want him on the next issue of Share Shootout, vote right here at Bruce Business on twitter.com. Good night.